To Coach Continuing Education Month here at the Power Collective. My hair is all over the place because I just finished fighting with all of these power cords to come on live for you all. If you're tuned into the replay, please let me know in the comments so I can come back and thank you for watching. If you are new here, welcome. Here at the Power Collective, January is Coach Continuing Education Month, which means we are dropping action-packed trainings here on live all month long. So make sure you stay connected. If you are like just now tuning in or you're not all the way caught up, all of the videos we've had thus far, I believe we've had 5, are available on my Instagram feed in a series called Coach Continuing Education Month. So if you click the little video button on my profile, you'll see it. And on YouTube, we have a playlist. So you can find everything in one spot. You don't have to keep scrolling. I have a quick tactical training for you all today. I do have to hop pretty early, so I'm going to go way faster than I normally do. And today I'm actually doing some teaching. So I wanted to give you a sneak peek of what it feels like to be in one of our programs called the Founder Circle. Yesterday I talked to you about Ascend. Today the Founder Circle, but I'm not going to give you the whole spiel. If you're interested in it and it sounds good, if you go to thepowercollective.co/work with me, you will find all of the details you need. In the Founder Circle, that's our program that is primarily for new and emerging coaches who are either brand new or they're not making consistent money. So if you're not at a consistent at least 5K a month in your coaching and course business, that's a really great place for you to be. And in that program, we teach all of the foundational pieces at a very detailed level. So the marketing, the messaging, the building the offer, all of that. One thing we teach in that program when you get to the section on how to build your offer is we actually teach coaching methodology, basically meaning how to actually coach your clients to results. So today, what I wanted to share with you is a couple of the methodologies that we teach within the program. So let me walk you through what a methodology even is, right? So just grabbing my notes here. So coaching methodology is often also referred to as a coaching method or a coaching modality. So if you've studied neuro-linguistic programming, emotional freedom techniques, like those are typically referred to as modalities. If you've ever heard of SMART goals, which we're going to talk about, that's like a coaching method. They all mean basically the same thing, right? So you may be thinking, well, what is the difference between a coaching method and a framework? So the framework is basically your intellectual property on paper of how you choose to take somebody from point A to point B. That's the simplest way to describe it, right? How do they go from whatever pain points you've prescribed now to having the brand promise or the program promise of your signature offer? So that's like the roadmap of everything they need to like learn, do, understand, comprehend, blah, blah, blah. But within that, there are methods and techniques you can use to help them understand your frameworks, to help drill it home, or to help bring out awareness from the client. And that is a coaching method. So we often instruct our clients to not just curate the framework, but to also figure out what kind of coaching method they're going to use to help their clients. Now, why do you need to think about all of this in the beginning? It helps your coaching sessions run so much smoother when you already have an idea of what needs to happen. And the beautiful part about coaching methods is if you're using a pre-created method is you typically just need to follow the list. So I'll give you an example. If I'm doing time techniques with one of our life coaching clients, I typically have my textbook in front of me because it's literally step by step by step. And with some of the techniques, especially if you're getting into time techniques, you're getting into clinical hypnosis, you need to follow them steps, girl. You don't want to get too off track with that. So you want to follow those. Now, you can also create your own coaching methods, though. You don't have to use any of the pre-created ones. Personally, I find it best to mix and match. So I do a mix of my own coaching methods as well as pre-created coaching methods. So today, I wanted to share with you what's in my notes. It looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4 coaching methods for you that I want to share. Definitely take notes. Definitely come back to this replay. And again, if you want a deeper dive on this, you can obviously just do your own research on these methods. They've been around for a long time. But again, we do teach coaching methods inside of the Founder Circle, okay? So when you are creating your own method, just really quick, the big thing here is you need to test it. Simply just opening up a notebook and just crafting to your heart's desire. It's not going to fly. When you finish doing doing that, consider your method in testing mode. So I recommend testing the method with at least 15 clients to ensure that it works. Not to mention, the more people you test it on, the more confidence you're going to gain as you're seeing those consistent and reliable results. The thing here is, they don't have to have the exact same outcome, but they do need to see some change or transformation in order for your method to be proven and for it to work. So this is just something I want to note for those of you that are like, well, I want to create my own, I don't want to use somebody else's, so whatever. So let's get into the first method. The first method is called the GROW model. And if you've ever heard of any of these methods, please let us know down in the discussion. So the GROW model is a very simple framework. I think it's one of the easiest ones to start with if you're new to bringing coaching methods into your coaching sessions. So basically, it's a very simple, powerful way to help a client identify a goal. And you can use this in every session depending upon what kind of coach you are. You can help them identify a goal and work through what's getting in the way, brainstorm ideas, and then helping them curate the action plan. So this is going to work for any kind of niche, honestly. Like if you're in the business of helping people solve problems, the GROW model is great. So the GROW model has been around since the 80s. It was developed in England. It's referenced in a book called Coaching for Performance, which I actually have. It's a really, really good book. But the GROW model is actually an acronym. So GROW. Let's go through what they stand for. So G stands for goal, where when you get into a session with the client, the first thing you're going to do is choose a goal they want to focus on for that session or for your time together, for the whole program, as well as a required outcome, right? So if their goal is, I don't know, I want a new career. Well, what kind of outcome would they want to have in order for them to feel successful at the end of the program? Would it have been to actually have landed the offer, land the contract, whatever, right? So again, you'll sit down with the client and you'll actually talk through this. And it's not just asking them, what's the goal? You want to continue to dig into that so that you can make sure that the goal that you're going to work on is really relevant for them. It's really specific. It's really important, because oftentimes that first surface level answer you get from a client, sometimes they're just saying what they think you want to hear, or they're just picking the easiest thing versus what they really want deep down on the inside. And so as a coach, you really want to hone in on your listening skills and your question asking ability. So in the Founder Circle, we actually have a worksheet to use with your clients during this exercise to help with that. So the next letter in the acronym is reality. So with reality, this is where you want to now begin to ask your clients questions, where you're exploring, where they are with this goal, right? Where they are in real time, what's going on for them, what's happening for them, what challenges are getting in their way. So when you're in the reality portion, this is where you definitely want to pre-brainstorm some questions. But again, that active listening piece is going to come in handy here, because you really want to dissect what's happening. Because if you take the surface level, it's almost going to be impossible to achieve the goal. So when the client says, I want a new career, but I just don't have time, instead of saying, okay, let's go to the next thing, it's, well, let's talk about that. What's a day in your life like? Where do you start to typically feel overwhelmed in the day? What are some of the things that you wish you could do that you don't have time for? I really want you to start to, if you're going to be a great coach, you have to start asking really, really good questions and really, really deep diving questions, because like I said, that first answer is never really the answer, and there's almost always a root cause for every perception of a challenge. Okay. A lot of stuff is mindset, not everything, but a lot of stuff is mindset. And the danger of not working through that is that mindset stuff will never go away. So even if you remove some kind of actual barrier, like I don't have childcare, and you help them with, I don't know, finding a childcare solution, even though that's the solution to seemingly the time problem, they're still going to feel like they never have enough time. Does that make sense? Please let me know in the comment section if that's clicking for you, or what I'm trying to say, because it's going to be incredibly frustrating for you as a coach to build an entire action plan for someone just for them to still push back with it, right? Like they're working with you the whole way, and then at the end they're just like, I still don't think I'm going to have time for this. That's why you need to work through the mindset with them and try not to diagnose, try to ask the right questions for them to come up with the answers themselves, because that's so much more powerful than you simply saying, no, you're just making excuses. Nobody wants to hear that. And people are going to get defensive. And that's why I get kind of like, with some of the coaches who are just like really loud and rude online, and they're just like, that's just how I am, I'm just, direct. And it's like, no, that's just your personality and you're just branding it. But that's not coaching, because coaching is really helping the client look within and find the answers within and understand their true potential. That is the official definition of coaching. And so it's so much more powerful to help a client with the right question asking and the right pacing, the right leading, and even the right reframing, because you are supposed to give an opinion, but you're doing it in a reframe where you're taking what's already happening and you're helping them see it in another light. I hope this is making sense. But it's so much more powerful for a client to come to a realization of selves and say it themselves versus someone saying it to them. Then it can just feel like, I'm just being attacked. They're just judging me. They just don't understand. Shutdown mode now happens. Now everything is like halted. So be very intentional with that when you're exploring the reality piece. The next letter in grow model is options. So with options, you really want to work with them to explore ideas of how they can achieve this goal, even with the constraints of their current reality. Brainstorm what they could do to move forward. So again, question asking, you can give suggestions, but just be careful to not take over the session from the client and just say, this is what you're going to do. Even if you have like even if in your program framework you have a definitive way, it's still best to let the client lead. So if you're like, for example, in our business coaching program in the founder circle, our definitive way is, signature offer. We don't really divert from that if you're not making consistent revenue yet, right? So it's, yes, consistent offer, signature offer, but how do you want to build it? Because there are 17 million ways we can build a signature offer. And so instead of just making them have a 6-month $10,000 program, that's just it. We help our clients to come to their own conclusions about what they want their program to look like, so they still have ownership in that and it still feels like it's theirs. If it's not theirs, they're not going to be committed to it. So exploring options on how they can move forward. And then the W in grow model is the will do, right? So in options, we explored options, but in will do, we're identifying the very specific actions they will take to move forward. This is where you want to not only help them come up with their action plan, but when your session actually ends, revisit this part and get buy-in and commitment. So what are you committing to do by next session? So that way, if you do want to have accountability in your coaching, if you have a multi-session program, you already know how the next session is starting off. And then the client also doesn't feel lost, because if you are building some huge plan, they may not know where to start. So when they come back next session, it's like, I didn't do anything because I was overwhelmed. So to combat that, help the client by getting buy-in and commitment on what things will be done by the time you meet again, okay? So that's that. And then the one bonus here that I saw when I was reading about the growth model in my research is that sometimes, for life coaches in particular, sometimes they add a T to this model at the beginning, so like the T grow model. But T just stands for topic. So if you're a life coach, a generalized life coach, and you coach clients on all kinds of areas like life, money, career, relationships, you may need to establish a topic at the beginning of your session to help them drill down on a goal. Otherwise, the client may get really, really overwhelmed on what they're supposed to talk about with you. So something for you to consider. All right, so if you're just coming in, we're talking about coaching methods to use with your clients. We're giving you a sneak peek of some of the things we talk about in the Founder Circle. So good morning to Tasha and Renata over on Facebook. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to everyone here on the Instagram comments. I don't want to mess up anybody's name, but thank you, Nails by Bink, I think, for your comments. So appreciate that. So the next model is called the heart model, okay, or the heart work model. Interestingly enough about the heart model, hey Lisa, This is actually typically used by health, nutrition, and fitness coaches. However, I do think that this can be applied by other coaches as well. So let me talk you through the HEART model. So the HEART model guides people through personal change transformation. Again, this is typically used in health, nutrition, fitness space. And the example they use here is that, like a heartbeat, you will establish a rhythm of consistent behavior. So how your heart beats in a rhythm, your behaviors begin to have a rhythm to it, right? And this rhythm of consistent behaviors will help you to realize your goals and overall aspirations. So, how does this work? What does the HEART model stand for? And please excuse my printer for just deciding to go off. So the H in HEART stands for help. How can you help the client with the transformation? So with this, you want to begin to think about and talk about with your clients how they define transformation. Where do they desire for the coaching to take them? What do they want to see in specifics by the end of your time together? Very similar to the GROW model, but they just use different language in here. The E is for explore. What does the client aspire to be? Then from there, actually working with them on what may be holding them back, similar to the reality and a growth model, and how will you know you've achieved your aspiration. This right here, those of you who have programs with intangible results, mindset coaching, life coaching, confidence coaching, clarity, like anything where the client like doesn't leave with a specific thing. Like in our world, you leave with a business, you leave with a new offer, you leave with clients, or you leave with weight loss, or you leave with a new job. If you have an intangible program, you really want to spend time with the client drilling down on how they will know they've reached their results, right? Like, so, and this is going to vary for everyone on how you do this, but this is going to help you with client satisfaction, because if you're working on these intangible changes, the client may not notice that they've grown. You may notice, you may see a change in their attitude and their energy and their confidence and all of this, but the client may not notice that. So you may want to work with them on drilling down on how they will know they've released this baggage or whatever it is you're working with them on. The next letter in this thing is A for act. What is the plan of action? So with this one, it's what is to, with the HEART model, they take it one step at a time, and you typically go through this with each session. So the action here is what is one step you can take today. Not multiple, one at a time. One step we can take today. And then the other thing that I found interesting with the ACT piece is that you work with the client on identifying what values are important for them to live by as they're continuing to take action. So helping them to define how they want to show up, what's not in integrity, what's not in alignment for them. And again, excuse the printer. I don't know why it's doing the most. I might have to unplug it in a second. So, you know, what values they want to live by. Then from there, the R, realize. How will you realize these behaviors, right? So here you're going to be putting the action plan into practice with the client and helping them to instill that desired behavior shift in those rhythms. So when you're in this phase, working with the client to help them figure out how will they celebrate their success, and also recognizing any obstacles that may come up before they come up. So again, if you're working with a new client on helping them with a career, helping them land a new job, and you all are committing to them applying to at least one job a day for the next 2 weeks online, you're going to say, hey, so what may stop you from committing to this? What may get in the way and prevent you from actually doing this one application? And then they'll say, oh, if I work too late, or my kids need this or that. So helping them pre-identify obstacles so that they can pre-create the action plan to work around those obstacles. T is for transform. How will you transform yourself? So with this, you know, this is one of those things that you will talk with the client about at the end of the program. So with the HEART model, the T is not during, it's like at the end, once they've already seen like the behavior shifts and you celebrated and congratulated them, it's helping them to now self-assess. What behaviors have you changed for the better? What learnings about yourself will you take into your future life? I really think the HEART model is going to work really, really well for any life coaches that are tuning in, okay? So moving on, we have two more, and I'm going to get through them pretty quickly. The next one is SMART goals. I know people like hear SMART goals and kind of like what, but yes, SMART goals is actually a coaching method. I don't know if you all knew that. I feel like we hear SMART goals so much in time management workshops, and we just thought it was just this concept, but it is actually a coaching method. So if all else fails, y'all, go back to the basics. So if you have no idea, SMART goals, it stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound. This is a great technique to use in your programs if you get clients who are very like super aspirational and they have no idea what their goals look like at the surface level. They just come in and they're just like, I want to be successful, I want to be happy, I want to be attractive, like whatever your niche is, right? I want to be wealthy. And you're like, okay, great. What does that mean? Because everybody defines wealth differently. Everyone defines attractive differently. Everyone defines happy differently. So going through the SMART goals method in your kickoff coaching session, very, very simple, but very, very powerful to help the client now take that 10,000 foot view right back down here to reality, girl. Like that is going to save you so much time. Can I repeat that? Absolutely. SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound. So when you're working with a client, the goal needs to be very, very specific, like a very clear key thing. If the goal is something that can be interpreted in multiple ways, it's not specific enough. Measurable meaning we will be able to know when we've accomplished this because we can measure the success, we can measure the impact. So if a client says I want to have a successful launch, how many clients define successful, or how much revenue defines successful? And they'll say 5 clients, $10,000, that defines success. Now we have something to measure it against once they're done to see if we hit the goal or not. Actionable, is it a goal that we've built where we can actually take action around it, or is it kind of pie in the sky? Action is required because we can't hit the goal if we don't take any action. So you have to make sure the goals are actionable. Realistic, everybody defines realistic differently, but it's basically, I just define it as, is it something that we can actually do? Can we actually achieve it, right? Is it possible to go from zero to $1 million in 3 days? Sure. Is it realistic for you? I don't know, girl. You have to figure that out on your own. And then the last one is time bound. That just means having a due date or deadline for when you want this goal to be realized. That's SMART goals. All right, the very last one, and I wish I had a printout of it to show you, but I don't. So your homework is to Google this one. The last coaching method you can use with your clients is the Wheel of Life. If you've seen the Wheel of Life before, let me know in the comments. Again, Google it. You can actually purchase like worksheet downloads of this on Etsy. You can find free templates on Google. But the Wheel of Life is commonly used by certified life coaches. It basically, I've seen the Wheel of Life where it's pre-filled in. So it'll say, relationships, money, career, health, whatever. And I've also seen it where the wheel is blank and then the client actually fills in the different categories of their life. But either way, it's a wheel that divides your life into categories or subjects. And as such, it helps you to work with the client to figure out what areas of their life needs more attention. And it's very powerful because it's a very vivid visual representation of how their life balance is and how everything looks. Don't get caught up on the word balance, though. I'm just using it because you will literally see there are some areas you like rank it 0 through 10, and there are some that are really high and some that are super low, and it just looks like a really crazy design, right? So it's called the Wheel of Life because every area of your life is mapped out on a circle. And this was actually created by a man named Paul Meyer. He is the creator of the Success Motivation Institute if you want to go and learn straight from him. But here's how the Wheel of Life works. So you start by brainstorming with the client 6 to 8 areas or dimensions of their life that are important to them. Then you assess each area. You rank it. You typically the templates come with little dashes. So it's like a circle, then they divide it like a pie, and then each slice of the pie has these little dashes. And then you rank it like 0 through 10, 10 meaning completely fulfilled in this area. 0 or 1 is like not fulfilled at all. And you go through and honestly assess each area. Once you're done assessing, you connect the dots and see if you get a full circle, which most people never do, right? And you just look at it. All right, you look at it, you take it in, and you assess. And you think about then, how does it look now and how do I want it to look? Right? Like what do I really want this to look like? And then from there, you work with the client to figure out how they want to best prioritize the most neglected areas, and that defines the program. The reason why this is mainly used by life coaches is because most certified life coaches, they coach on multiple areas. They coach on, like when I went through my certification for life coaching, they were literally like, here's all of the different modalities of coaching you can do now. It was like life, relationships, dating, money, career. Like there's just so many things you can do as a life coach. So that's why the wheel of life comes into play, because you just get a client that comes in, it's like, I'm miserable, I'm not happy, I don't know what's wrong. The wheel of life is a really great place to start. And then once you figure out what life area they want to focus on first, pull out the grow model and you will be good to go. So with that, I do have to hop, you guys. I'm sorry to rush. I have an appointment at 10:15 and it's outside of my home, so I gotta go. But I've went through all of these coaching methods with you. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you came in late, catch the replay. These are all things you can go and implement within your coaching sessions literally as soon as next week if you already have coaching clients. If this was really helpful for you, if you're a newer emerging coach and you're like, girl, I need more support on being a better coach and attracting clients into my program, I highly encourage you to go to my website, thepowercollective.co/work with me, and learn more about our program, the Founders Circle. And if you're an experienced coach who's ready to grow and scale, we have one-on-one programs for you as well. With that, thank you all so much. Thank you, Nails by Bink. I so appreciate you. You all have a fabulous weekend. I will be back with you live next week. I will have to share on my Instagram stories next week's live stream dates, times, and all of that. So just stay connected with me because I gotta go. Bye, y'all.